stand a little bit more to the side. More to the side. This way. A little bit more this way. Yeah. Give me a little bit of room here.
Okay.
Derek, you come up here. And stand right here. You want your daughter next to you?
Yeah.
Okay. You come over here. Mom wants you next to her right here. Okay, that's perfect. Very good. Just give me a little bit more room. All right. Thank you, everybody, and good afternoon. We appreciate you being here. I understand that Jen has already made introductions, and so I will dispense with that. But what I am here to tell you is that no law enforcement officer ever, at any time, should be in the prediction business of who should live and who should die when they are under the color of law and on duty. That goes for when they're off duty too, but especially when they're on duty and under color of law. Nobody should ever be predicting, once they arrive on a scene, of who should live or who should die. I know of an officer who made that prediction, Sean Grayson, in Sangamon County, when he encountered Sonia Massey. And he made the prediction that he was going to kill her. And seconds later, indeed, he did kill her. We have that same case here today with Derek. 20 seconds. I want you to think about that. It was just 20 seconds from when Officer Max Walzer arrived on the scene in which he fired the deadly shots which killed Derek. When he arrived to where Derek Jordan was inside a car that was blocked by several other police vehicles, and those officers were trying to de-escalate the situation, that's because the scene was under control until Officer Walzer arrived and the scene became out of control. He arrived enraged and almost immediately told Derek that he was going to kill him. Walzer arrived at the scene with his gun drawn and immediately shouted verbal threats that he was going to kill Derek. He ignored any opportunity at all to calm the scene, de-escalate, and do what police officers, law enforcement officers are supposed to do, and that's be public safety, not public enemies. Less than 20 seconds later, Derek was dead. Walzer carried out on his threat to kill Derek. We are now calling on Cook County State's Attorney, Eileen Burke, to investigate this case as a possible murder and bring charges, if warranted, against this officer. This took place on March 9th, 2026 in Humboldt Park. I could go on and on about the list of shootings and names of those killed or severely injured by Chicago Police Department law enforcement officers unlawfully. This list would be so long that it would consume this entire press conference today. But let me give you a little bit of history on how pervasive this problem is. It goes back not just to when Derek was killed, or even when Sonia Massey was killed, but decades and decades. And how do we know that? Because in January 2017, the U.S. Department of Justice released the findings of its pattern and practices investigation into Chicago Police Department. They concluded that the department engaged in unreasonable and excessive force that harmed Black and Latino Chicagoans the most. This was driven by systemic failures in training, supervision, and accountability. And that's exactly what we're alleging in the killing and shooting death of Derek Jordan by Chicago Police Department Officer Walzer. Now that investigation, those findings from 2017 led to a consent decree that is still in place today. Now, this is the world that Derek Jordan lived in. He lived in this world that Chicago Police Department was found to be racist and systemic and marginalizing poor people in underserved neighborhoods. So for black men of Derek's generation, there is a very real understanding that one single encounter with a Chicago police officer could absolutely cost you your life. And for Derek, it did. And that's because there was a promise, and that promise was carried through. Officer Walzer came in unjustifiably hot to a scene where Derek Jordan was inside a car that was blocked by several police officers. They were on site working to de-escalate the situation while Walzer arrived at the scene with his gun drawn and immediately shouting multiple verbal threats to kill Derek. So this lawsuit, filed after the death of Derek Jordan and by his family, continues a devastating, decades-long pattern of deadly force used disproportionately on men of color in Chicago. This documented behavior by Chicago police has created extreme distrust and fear in our communities, and we need to reckon with this as a city. We are seeking justice for Derek. This family is seeking justice for their son, their loved one, and their brother. But they also mean to bring meaningful systemic change, so this, once and for all, we can say, can stop happening. I would now like to turn it over to Senior Attorney Maura White for comment.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Tony. At this point, I'm going to walk through the facts of the case that are captured on video, and I'm going to share some details of the lawsuit with you. But before I do, I just want to check in with the family and see if you would like to step out for this portion or you'd like to stay here.
I'll step out.
Okay.
More. What I'd like to say is that what we're doing is something a little bit more uncharacteristic. But because the shooting and killing of Derek Jordan was so outrageous, shocked the conscience of so many, we need the public to see what happened. If they haven't seen it, they must see what happened when Officer Walzer arrived on scene carrying through on his promise. This is not conventional, but neither is what happened.
Thank you. So on March 9th of 2026, Derek Jordan was driving a vehicle that was stopped at the curb on the west side of Homan Avenue, just north of its intersection with Chicago Avenue here in downtown Chicago. At that time, an unmarked CPD car driven by two plainclothes officers was traveling southbound on Homan when it suddenly crossed the center line, drove into oncoming traffic, and the officers quickly exited their vehicle in street clothes in an attempt to ambush Derek Jordan. In response to the sudden presence of an armed individuals in street clothes quickly approaching, Derek reversed the car and drove away. He traveled about a block and a half, then into an alley where a CTA bus on Homan Avenue blocked the alley. The unmarked squad car then approached and pinned in Derek's car between the squad car and the bus. The officers quickly approached on foot, yelling commands for Derek to exit the vehicle. Other CPD units quickly arrived on scene and further blocked Derek's car from moving. One of the squad units that arrived on the scene was operated by Defendant Max Walzer, who approached northbound on Homan at approximately 5:41 p.m., according to his body-worn camera. At that time, there were several officers in street clothes and uniforms that were surrounding Derek and shouting orders to Derek to exit the vehicle, all done in an effort to de-escalate the situation. And I'm going to show a couple photos now. I just want to make sure that the family is still comfortable with staying here. Okay. So I'm going to step back. So this is the first photo. When Defendant Walzer exited his vehicle, it was clear, as this photo shows, that Derek's vehicle could not go to the left, to the right, backwards, or forwards. And it was clear that this situation continued to require de-escalation. However, Walzer quickly approached Derek's vehicle on foot with his gun drawn. The sunroof of Derek's car was open and tilted up so he could hear exactly the words that Defendant Walzer was about to say as he exited the vehicle. According to body-worn camera, 2 seconds after arriving on scene, Walzer approached and positioned himself directly next to Derek's car, frantically screaming, "Get out of the effing car. I will effing shoot you." Defendant Walzer knew, or should have known, that Derek would hear him and be fearful of his life. He knew or should have known that he was escalating that situation. And 3 seconds later, Walzer screamed, "Get out," 7 times. And again, "I will kill you." These statements further escalated the situation. Next, you'll see Derek turned the wheels of his car in the opposite direction of Defendant Walzer, and you can see this captured on body-worn camera. At no time did Derek Jordan brandish a weapon, and just 11 seconds later, Walzer screams again, "I will kill you." So just 20 seconds after arriving on that scene, Walzer fired 6 consecutive shots from his service weapon through the passenger window of Derek's vehicle. It struck and killed Derek. And you can see the bullet holes in the front passenger window of his car. And again, his wheels are still facing in the opposite direction of Defendant Walzer. At no time prior to discharging his weapon did Walzer attempt to de-escalate the situation to avoid the need for deadly force. At all times while on the scene and prior to discharging his weapon, Walzer was in a reckless and uncontrolled state of mind that placed all those on scene in danger, including Derek Jordan. 4 days after this deadly and unnecessary shooting, Walzer was relieved of his police powers, and it's unclear if that was because of Derek Jordan's killing or something else. But the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is said to have opened an investigation into Derek's death. Derek Jordan's parents are represented by founding partner Antonio Romanucci, partner John Gorey, and myself. Ankin Law also represents Derek's parents. We filed this lawsuit on Friday, August 7th of this year, in the Circuit Court of Cook County's Law Division. The defendants include the City of Chicago and Max Walzer, individually and as an agent of the City of Chicago. The plaintiff is Christine Thompkins, who is Derek's mother. And the lawsuit includes counts for willful and wanton conduct, both against the City of Chicago and also against Max Walzer. We are seeking a jury trial in this case. I'd now like to give Derek's mother, Christine, a chance to share how she's feeling, followed by Derek's father, Derek Thompson. Christine?
Hi, my name is Christine Thompkins. I'm Derek Jordan's mother. I have 2 children and was my baby. Derek had a family. He was loved. He loved his birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas of all. His birthday this summer deeply hurt me, and I can't imagine the holidays coming out without him. He was 43 and had a lot of life to live. Derek was a sweet man. He gave me a necklace, the necklace I have on, before he died, and I would keep it forever. I am a nurse. I care for others people, but I have been unable to work since Derek was killed. I am a wreck. He took my baby. I ask you, how does that person who killed my son sleep at night? How does he eat? How does his family feel? How can I tell you that I am not sleeping? I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating, and my family is. There is my child, and he didn't deserve to die the way he died. I am sure my son was scared, but you did what you said you was going to do, and you killed him. God does not like this. I can promise you, I am not going to back down. I will get justice for Derek. I just want justice to be done. I love you, Derek. Rest in peace, son.
Mr. Thompkins, why don't you go there?
I'm Derek's my son. I love my son dearly. I have a hole in my heart right now. I have a hole in my heart that will be there forever. When this person killed my son, he killed me also. I just haven't laid down yet. Every day I think of my son. Every time I close my eyes, me and my son talked regularly, and he'd come, he'd say, "Hey, Pops, how are you?" I'd say, "Hey, man." He'd say, "I know you want to be like me, don't you, Dad? You just, old man, you just want to be like me, don't you?" I say, "Yeah, man, when I grow up one day, I want to be just like you." And we'd fall out laughing. You know, that's how he and I kidded around. 42 years old, he had a lot of life to live. I want to understand. These people are sworn to serve and protect. I want to know, somebody just tell me who they're protecting, because it damn sure ain't us. Where does this stop? My son was a genuine young man. He didn't deserve this. He did not deserve this at all. I miss him so much every day. And but this is what happens when you put guns in the hands of irresponsible people. You put them out here and put guns in their hands. This is what happens. Innocent people die unnecessarily. Innocent people. My son hadn't did anything. I don't know who they were chasing, who they were supposed to be chasing, but my son had not committed any crime at all. They chased an innocent man down and shot him down and killed him, a totally innocent person. So I don't, whoever is hiring these people, I don't know the logistics of it, but it's crazy. It's got to stop. And I have a hole in my heart, like I said, it's going to be there forever. And this person, I wonder if he has children. I pray for them and him also. I pray that they can move. Just look when they see my son. Think about the son that you took away from us, the son, the brother, the nephew, the cousin that you took away. Unjustifiably. No one deserves this. No human being deserves this type of treatment here from people that are sworn to serve and protect. Who are they protecting? Who are you protecting? Because it damn sure ain't us. I love you, son. Your daddy love you, boy. Yes.
Did you want to say something?
We'll open it up for questions now for the attorneys only.
Do you know if the city's been served already?
Probably not. I mean, the complaint was filed on Friday, so its service will take a few days. But the lawsuit is filed.
What's the protocol after an officer involved shootings?
Well, generally speaking, after an officer is involved in a shooting, there's a 30-day rest period where they're put on administrative leave. It could be desk duty. What's happening with this particular officer, we don't know. We don't know.
Have you heard of instances where officers are screened for drugs or alcohol after shooting?
Absolutely, yes. And we don't know what this situation is either. And that's why this lawsuit is so important. We've got to get into what's called discovery and taking depositions and getting documents. And seeing what COPA, we're hopeful that COPA is conducting an independent, real investigation here and not taking any sides and giving us the real facts.
You mentioned, or you called on the state's attorney to open a criminal investigation. So is it your understanding that there is no criminal investigation?
We have not been contacted about a criminal investigation. I can tell you these family members have not been interviewed by the state's attorney's office, but we're asking for one. You cannot ever arrive on a scene not knowing whether somebody has a weapon, doesn't have a weapon, isn't harming anybody. Was there some property damage on scene? Yeah, there was property damage. But you show me where it says that you can use deadly force on somebody causing property damage. And so when he arrives on scene, not understanding the scene, and saying that I'm going to kill you, I'm going to effing kill you, and then 20 seconds later does it, I think that warrants a criminal investigation. He certainly had intent when he was on scene. We don't know if he had intent before he arrived on scene, but we sure know through his own words that he had intentions of killing when he was on the scene, and he followed through. That, in my mind, warrants a criminal investigation.
And I know you typically do a little bit of background. Have you learned anything about this officer?
Not much at all.
You guys mentioned a couple times, and it's in the news release, a mention of systemic issues within the Chicago Police Department. Talk to me about why you feel this case really connects those dots.
Well, look, it doesn't take much to see that these incidents happen on the west side and the south side. You don't hear about officers arriving on the north side of Chicago, which is predominantly white, a much different demographic, saying, I'm going to kill you when they jump out of a car. That doesn't happen to white people. It happens to people of color in this city, and it's been happening way too often. And look, it's not only my office's experience. I can go through all the list of cases where we've represented people in this city, and I can tell you the disproportionality is extreme. And so this continues that same pattern where we see it doesn't have to be a white police officer. There can be black on black racism also, where people are victimized in those neighborhoods consistently through the use of excessive force or deadly force.
You showed a bit of it here today. The body-worn camera video is pretty alarming. But can you talk about when you say that more de-escalation tactics should have been used? How should this have been handled?
Well, look, there were other officers on scene. They may have had their guns drawn, but only one officer shot. Okay, so having your gun drawn is sometimes enough of a deterrent for somebody to de-escalate and stop. They already had Derek trapped. So there was a bus in front of him, a vehicle on the side or behind him, so he was already trapped. That's where you begin the communication aspect of it. It's time, it's distance, and it's communication. So you're asking, how do you handle it? What you do is, first of all, you take a step back, take a quick breath and assess the situation, determine whether or not further communication, dialogue with the person inside the vehicle, sunroof open, as Maura said, so he could hear, whether that would cause him to open his door and step out.
Weren't officers other than Walzer saying that if he didn't get out of the driver's seat, they were going to shoot?
On this body-worn camera, I did not hear anybody else say they were going to shoot.
I think that's it. Just wanted to clarify.
Anything to clarify?
No, I think that's,
John?
no, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Appreciate it.
Well, I just wanted to see
Oh.
if there was anything else that came up for the parents. Sometimes you take a breath
I appreciate that, but we were only having, client statements today, and attorneys will answer questions, but our clients are done for the day.
I wasn't asking a question.
Oh, sorry, I thought you
Yeah,
were
I was
asking
just-
if they had anything additional to say.
Yeah, if they had anything else to say.
Anything more you want to say?
No.
No.
Thank
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Being here. Thank you.